Hello and welcome to a new video. Today is Monday the 12th of September 2016. It's 3:22 hours in the morning. Once more I'm kept from sleep and whatnot. Actually this night it was specific straight out of Albion attacks, that is England, Scotland, Wales, Albion, without any attempt to at all hide the origins. The interesting thing about this is that this has been slowly, I have the impression, faded in over these last few days, if not weeks. It's a little hard to explain what they're doing. They're doing yet another attempt at remote apping. And the interesting thing is they seem to have a different stance on how to approach that than the incompetent Germans who try to do remote apping. So I guess now the Brits, the Albionish, try to do remote apping. And what I found interesting is that they seem to work with several different concepts that they try to make happen in a remote way. Namely, on one hand, something that makes use of what used to be the underlying mechanics of the imprint app, which is the visual imprint app, plus allowing them to slightly redefine visual triggering. It's a little hard to explain. It only works if constantly on as many access routes as possible all of my phases are tied down, so to speak, and that they transmit into the fields here via proxy devices on all their frequencies at the same time. And this is basically they're doing. I have to admit that they're doing it more effectively than the Germans. The Germans' approach was just complete ridiculous idiocy. What the people in Albion are doing at least has some degree of functioning. It is nothing at all like the real apps used to be, and it is only possible because they severely tie everything down, and this is all access routes at the same time via probably all of the proxy devices here. And the Albion people are having to shift this night. I just wanted to point this out. The actual reason why I record this video is something else. What with Albion being so insisting on making it clear that they are the prime enemy of mankind, and that they so severely once more attack me, the prime protector of mankind, I figured I should update something. What you see here is on the 25th of November 2015, I sent an email to the regular recipients where a couple of things were explained, and where you had a map that I called Annihilation-Map. Now, I'm not sure if I explained this map in the past in one of the videos. I know that I had this map displayed on the screen when I recorded the video for the former UK's Ministry of Defence, and I told them that it doesn't get any more red. That's what I remember telling them, and that is true, because in total there isn't more red, because this is the map from November 2015. Now the dark red areas is where Faex Mundi has their true power, so to speak, which is why the places are declared as expandable places, even by me, the reshaper of Europe and the prime protector of mankind. It is legitimate to completely and utterly annihilate what you find in dark red here, in order to liberate mankind. And the 50% red, or pink as it seems here on the screen, is where you get some annihilation on the periphery, so to speak, less severe annihilation. Now the interesting thing is, this was the map 2015, November 2015. We're almost a year later, and certain things have changed around a little. So let me close this here. I updated this map, and I want to show you these two. Now this is the map as it used to be. Here in the preview, the light red areas seem almost a brownish, darker red. That is because Mac OS's preview cannot correctly display the transparency here. So don't let that confuse you. The really severely to be annihilated parts is these here red, and what you see in a very, very brownish dark red is the less severely annihilated parts, to be annihilated parts. This was the condition in almost a year ago. This is the condition today. Now I want to elaborate a little on this. Let us start up here. The entirety of Albion has, once more, I want to remind people of, the regular readers of my emails, but now thoroughly been solidly made red, which means it used to be only the very core of the delusionists and royalists over there who are part of Faex Mundi, and those are in England and not in Scotland and not in Wales. So on the original map I had New Scotland and New Wales not red, but the truth is they insist on all of Albion being annihilated, and that is why, unfortunately, I had to mark them as to be annihilated. Now, in exchange, an interesting thing is that Altland here, this part up here is also Altland. This is Thüringen, actually, Bayern, Salzburg, Oberösterreich. Altland has actually lost all of its red. I find that very fascinating. So all of Albion got red, contrary to what it used to be, but therefore Altland has been lifted of any red at all. Another interesting thing is that down here, Duaterre, these two, one country called Duaterre, Duaterre used to be solidly red, and now is only 50% red. I interpret that as the Faex Mundi people down there trying actually to make New Italy at least light red, by their perspective, so to speak, yet that their attempts fizzle and that they just don't have the resources, or that there's other mechanisms down there that prevent them, and actually what they do really is their resources are wasted, basically, and that has the indirect result that they actually went from solid dark red to light red, namely here. That is an interesting thing. A somewhat similar phenomenon can be observed here with France. France used to be solidly red, and now is only 50% red, but therefore some of the filth seems to have worked northeastwards, because on the old map Pas du Nord was not at all red, and Luxembourg was only light red, whereas now Luxembourg is solidly red, and Pas du Nord has also been colored light red. I interpret that way, that either it was the Belgians who actually are responsible for most of the Faex Mundi ongoings and enslavement of all of France, and they just redrew their Faex Mundi resources back up a little north, and thus stained this and this, but indirectly made France less red than it used to be. So France now is only light red. That is an interesting change. Then, is there anything else? I think that's pretty much most of the changes. And also, I'm not sure if Ireland losing its red, I'm not sure if that is due to Duaterre, and of course the RCC and whatever it pulled in Ireland, whether that is the reason why Ireland is not to be annihilated anymore, because there is no need anymore, or if it is because the splinter cells of the RCC that you have operating on Albion actually, so to speak, drew resources out of Ireland. But the interesting thing is that Ireland, and this really surprised me because I had Ireland down as hopeless, useless, because of all of that utterly insane rabid Catholic mindset shit that they have out there, deeply in their heads with Faex Mundi's Inhumane Technologies. But lo and behold, it lost all of its red. So I want to show you this new map with the correct transparency displayed. This is This is the new map. Here we are. Oh, fuck. Okay, if I do it full screen, it doesn't display correctly. Now it's displayed correctly. This is the new map, and this is the old map. So you can see things changed. All of Albion now, the prime enemy of mankind for the longest time. Their latest attacks against me, while more competent than the incompetent messing of the German idiots, still are ultimately futile and leave me rather unimpressed, I dare say. It's a pain in the ass, alright, but that's all it is, and it doesn't quite do what I assume, I can only assume this, they were hoping for. You know, it also included in this latest Albion approach is a bit of their, how to put that, a bit of their, there used to be, way back in the hot phase, a very professional psychologist, I think I call him the Mengele shrink or something like that, a completely and utterly sick psychologist who attacked me. He came out of stateside, and I assume that the people in Albion, the Faex Mundi on Albion, has also tried to interweave a bit of destructive Mengele style psychology into their latest approaches, especially when it comes to dividing up my phases and me again, and so on and so forth. But even that is a sad joke compared to what Mengele psychologist was able to pull, and even that is not very impressive. So Ireland lifted of all of its red. They didn't even just go back to light red, they lost all of their red. Therefore, all of Albion now is deeply red. France went from solid red to light red only, but therefore some of the red retreated northwards and eastwards here, and they're probably also, I'm afraid, the Belgians really, and whatever French people you have, maybe because I could imagine New Germany's Faex Mundi trying to support the Faex Mundi still present in Freiland. Maybe Rhineland here is being protected, so to speak, from a perspective of Faex Mundi by some of these resources going out of France. So these are the changes that you see here. Some of that resource of Faex Mundi has gone northeastwards, so to speak. But the result is that France is only light red now. Well, you know, Spain is unchanged. Spain is pathetic and ridiculous. They still crawl before the people of Albion. I have no idea what their fucking royals and delusional lurchies and whatnot had, and I mentioned that in my emails. I'm not sure if I mentioned it in the videos, but they have some odd agreement with the royal freakazoids up on Albion, and they still seem to hold loyal to that. So Spain is still as red as it always was, which is a bit of a disappointment, but so be it. I'm also surprised that Duatera is only light red now rather than solidly red. That is, once more, I think, because they tried to fuck around here but didn't actually succeed in making this even light red. New Italy, only Duatera was consequently stripped of some of its red, and the regions down here remained as they were. Just the other 2 days actually, yesterday and the day before that, I got severe Orthodox Christian lurchies sicked in my fields, and they may or may not have had what I used to call the tooth anger app, though recently I call it something else in one of my videos. I forgot what I call it, renamed the app. Even today I had someone who might have had that app, or at least an attempt at recreate that effect. That may have been actually, and that is very likely, just another attempt from the aforementioned psychology coming out of Albion, because it wasn't really a real tooth anger app. It was just something to the extent of that was supposed to have that kind of effect, and so on and so forth, namely psychologically rather than actually in your brain. But I'm going into details here. So I just thought it was time for a new Annihilation map. So if you are anybody out there who cares about the liberation of mankind and who cares about mankind not going to the dogs and going completely extinct. This is the current state in Europe. Just so you know, I figured it's high time for an update. This is the updated map. In total, I do want to point this out, as I said way back when, this map doesn't get any more red, and there is not more red on this updated map. I sort of kind of feared that they might go, I mean, especially the alien people, go for Denmark and maybe even Norway or anywhere in Scandinavia really, but that didn't happen. So by my way of looking at this current map actually in total seems a wee little less red, at least less intensely red than the old map seems. And I take that as progress, actually. That's what I take it as. I also want to remind people of the fact that by midnight tonight, should I not have been killed until then, all of my restructuring of Europe, as you can see the countries structured here, will become fully effective and is universally accepted by all of Europe and even by countries like Turkey and Cyprus and whatnot, Russia also. That is another little reminder. And Albion being the prime enemy of mankind, that is what really becomes, I'm not sure I have a right word for that there. They're just, you know, I mean, they're fucking useless idiots. That's what they are. They're completely and utterly useless idiots over there, the Faex Mundi of Albion, and they do insist on that island being sunk, basically, for all practical purposes. So, you know, if anybody out there in their right mind in the world wants to do a bit of nuking to help the liberation of mankind, this is your annihilation map, basically. Nuke the places that are deep red. Don't nuke the places that are light red, or at least nuke them strategically and them only tactically or something. This is where, of course, you got Faex Mundi all over the fucking place, right? It's not that these countries are free of Faex Mundi. It's just that this is really where Faex Mundi is most at home. In German is the word Hochburgen. I'm not perfectly sure if something to that extent exists in the English language. This is where they rule, so to speak, right? They have enslaved all of Europe, so of course they rule in a certain way over everything, but here is where they rule in a, yeah, you understand what I mean by that. So this is the new updated annihilation map of Europe, 12th of September 2016, and I've been talking too long for this video anyhow, so I'm going to cut this off now. Thank you. You've been informed.